Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I want to talk about Orphazyme, going with the ticker ORPH. And today the hopes that I'm trying to give you due diligence news followed by technical analysis on what I think about this one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Orphazyme, what do they actually do? So Orphazyme is pioneering the development of new type of medical treatment by applying our specialized expertise in heat shock protein, a key component of the body's natural cellular stress defense system. And before going on towards the deep parts and ends, let's just take a look into the presentation that they do have on their website. So the first thing here is they have three main parts of their pipeline: Niemann-Pick disease type C. And this one here has a field US NDA priority review, EUA or EU MAA filing submitted to the EMA, and the PDUFA date is June 17th. So in less than a week, that is the target potential US approval. And the next part is Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, and that's phase 3 registrational with top-line results anticipated in the first half of 2021. And Gaucher disease, that's in phase 2, top-line data reported. And then moving on from there, Orphazyme is founded on pivotal science, a large body of peer-reviewed publications. And over here, I'm not going to really take a look into the exact details and the breakdowns. I'm just going to highlight some things that really pop up. So they're ready for potential launch in 2021. That is for their main pipeline I mentioned about. The first one, critical team in the US and Europe are already in place and vast experience in rare disease launches. Rare disease specialists and medical science liaison, national account directors and reimbursement access team are ready for launch. And manufacturing and supply ready to meet demand within a narrow window of approval. No anticipated material impact of COVID-19 on launch efforts though. Now, expected to be first to market the NPC in the United States if approved, and the second in Europe as well. Now, I think it's the first in Europe. I think that's 1, 2, 3. My bad. Nonetheless, in terms of some of the pipelines, etc., you're able to see in 2021 they have potential approval towards the market, and then by 2022, in hopes that they do have 2 more products in there as well. So the trials closed in June 2020, potential being transitioned into EAP, and that will close into October 2021 for the aggregation potential treatment of NPC. Now, in terms of January 2021, that was potential approval to market as well. Miglist is indicated for treatment for NPC outside of the US, and now generic and no longer promoted, not approved in the US. Now, moving on a little bit further, we're able to see some of the objectives. They're under 3 main categories: organizational readiness, market readiness and patent access, and stakeholder engagement and education. Now, some of their partners are as follows here. I'm not just going to read them. But nonetheless, in the first half of 2021, they do have registered trial readout expected in ALS. June 17, 2021, the NPC PDUFA date, and NDA accepted with priority review with orphan drug designation. And in Q4 2021, the NPC anticipated CHMP opinion in EU. Now, as well, Niemann-Pick disease type C, that is ready to launch again in 2021. 40% people diagnosed under the specific, under the study nonetheless. There's around 1,800 patients in EU and US, and their estimated incidences is between 1 in 100,000 patients. That is based on, well, they referenced it 15 to 19, so that should be at the end. And US, there's around 300 people. In Europe is around 800 people. I'm not sure if that's annually or not, but between that, 50% children and 50% adult. Now, moving on from there, I'm not really a fan that they're not referencing their stuff at the bottom. I was able to really explain to you some of these things further, but nonetheless, we get to see that they do have a big pipeline dates potentially by the next week. So that is massive. Some more specific details, lab data, etc. Anyway, in terms of the cash review, they have currently the cash at the end of the year around $119 million, based on a very successful US IPO. Now that's a lot better improvement from 124 DKK million Now they have around 7 times the amount of cash, which is equivalent to, again, 120 million. Now for net loss per share, they have around 22.32 for DKK compared to 16.85 in 2019. So they are on a bigger loss due to research and development and commercial infrastructure, and increased operating expenses mainly due to the expansion of our global footprint and pre-launch activities. Now, research and development costs increased primarily due to 3 clinical pharmacology registrational trials, increased clinical safety reported activity in ongoing trials, and expansion of research and development team by 12 people. And you get to see their team, etc. Now, the current market cap, by the way, just in potential, they have around $326 million. The cash they did report is around 120 million, making their price or their current price per cash around 3 to 1. Not to forget as well the price over book. So usually with pharma, the price over book is closer to around 1 or 2 because they do have a lot of research and development. Again, they're pre-revenue, so the revenue would be 0, so the price over sales technically would be infinite. Now, some other news that we did receive, for instance, June 11th. Now, just a quick thing, on June 10th, the stock skyrocketed. It went all the way to 77.77. And it's quite insane because ever since then, it dropped around 88% from there. So there's either kind of more of 3 different scenarios you're watching this one. Whether you bought it because someone said to buy it and now you're watching and trying to figure out what this one is about, or you've done your preliminary research and you're trying to get to know a little bit more about this one as well as technical analysis, or you've been here for a while ever since in around, let's say, the $8 and currently questioning whether you should break even and get out or continue on. Hopefully this video will give you a good perspective for all these things. Nonetheless, they did release an announcement, and sometimes this occurs on June 11th, saying, hey, we're unsure exactly what's causing volatility in our shares. We experience extreme volatility in price and trading volume. The company is not aware of any material changes to its clinical development programs, financial conditions, or result of operations that would explain such volatility. Basically, they looked at the price and said, you guys are right. We're not sure we said anything. Anyway, this is nothing to kind of be alarmed of. Some kind of usual behavior for a lot of these companies to come out and, just give a disclaimer. Just, I guess, a part of it is to be careful of any SEC's investigations if the SEC comes down breathing on their necks. Now, Orphazyme announces top-line data from pivotal trial of Arimoclomol, in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Now here, that was on May 7, 2021. Pivotal trial did not meet primary and secondary endpoints evaluating impact on functional survivals, and Orphazyme remains focused on the commercial readiness and potential of the US approval, Arimoclomol, and for Niemann-Pick disease type C in June. Again, this is the big part we're talking about, the June 17th PDUFA potential approval. Sometimes, by the way, these things get delayed, so don't be discouraged if that approval actually comes out, let's say on the 20th, 25th, or comes in the 17th and you haven't heard anything yet. Articles of association, there was some here on 25th of March 2021 on the company website. Another thing on March 29, 2021, that was top-line results from pivotal trial for the same thing, Arimoclomol, and for inclusion bodies for Body Now, a quick thing here, what is the main news about here? They said, we recognize that these data are disappointing for patients and families who continue to eagerly waiting for promising options for IBM. We believe that the data collected will be useful for the community since this trial represents one of the largest long-term studies ever conducted in the disease and will help inform future research in the category. Now, moving on from there, new long-term share-based incentive for the program. They're basically giving restricted share units to employees, whether executive members or any other member group, to basically make sure that they're longer as an incentive. Now, from institutional buyers, institutions haven't been so active in the month of June, but still around mid-May and early May, they've been bullish. Back in February, a lot of these companies just liquidated, whether it's Citadel, all these companies basically closed their positions. So to date, I think there's 3 main companies that still have their positions since February: LSP, Cooperative, and Sunstone, with around 7% or 8% for LSP and the rest 5% each. Now, quick thing here as well, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe in the bottom right corner and turn your bell notification buttons on. If you have any questions, you can click show more and join our Discord totally free. It's some easier way to reach me than the comment section below. Now let's move on towards technical analysis. Now usually I would come here with solid technical analysis, try to tell you a bit about these indicators, volumes, etc. But let's be clear here. What happened here for a price point going in from almost $5 to 77.77 is quite insane. This is not even, let's say, 100%. Going in from almost $5 to almost 80 bucks. That's almost 160 times more. That is not usual. Well, I mean, there was a period of time last year where that was basically every day, but this one skyrocketed. And even till now, 933 from yesterday, from Thursday, that's still almost 100%. So, nonetheless, what happened here is nothing off usual. And I wish I can come in and tell you about, well, this is the strength here. I can just go over the indicators. Right now, the average directional index shows that there's a very, very strong trend. Although this is potentially by this massive kind of price spike that pushed the momentum towards almost 1587. Currently, the momentum is positive but retracting. The MACD is retracting, which is negative. And the willing percent R shows highly, highly, highly oversold price point. But mainly, it will show that if your price point went from 80 bucks to $9 on the next day. Now, the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are telling you to be careful as it's dipping downwards. And in terms of moving average bands, you can't even see them on here really, but it's expected to trade on the 1334 for the Bollinger Bands and negative 0.49 at the bottom, which means 0, even though technically that's almost impossible, unless the company just completely becomes illiquid and bankrupt. Anyway, in terms of the Thursday volume, you're seeing a volume of 787. So that was quite interesting, around 7.9 million shares traded on Thursday. On Friday, we've seen a spike on shares, but in the wrong direction. Around 43 million shares being sold or traded on Friday. And that resulted in a negative unbalanced volume of around negative 30 million. That means a lot more people sold than bought in the day before. And so I guess everyone who were in here, whether institutions or buyers, they looked at it and said, I wish I sold at 80 bucks. You know what? I'm just going to sell today at 15. And they did. And so that's why the price point is being dropped below. And don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure that some short sellers were on this, but I can imagine the borrowing weight and the margin calls you got out of the 80 bucks. Now, whether to say this is a short squeeze or not, well, I think any short that was shorting at 5 bucks should have been out already by 80 bucks. Either that or probably the broker already liquidated, unless you're talking about a banker like or institution like BlackRock, which I really don't anticipate that to be the case in this case. Now, nonetheless, volume skyrocketed in the wrong direction, and I can't really go on with Fibonacci retracements and try to tell you where the prime or key price points are for reversals, but in this sense, what I can try to do is I can go back in the last few hours, let's say 2 hours, and try to get you a little bit of sense on where I expect this one to go. So on price line actions, you're seeing a significant support sitting in the 892. The current resistances 1379, 1818, and then up to 2364, and then it's just skyrockets up to somewhere around 5176 to 5508. There's a gap in there, so a lot of these price points aren't really matched. It's 2 hours. I mean, even if I go 15 minutes, maybe. No, but not really, because it was halted multiple times. It really went parabolic. If you got in at $5 and sold at 70 plus, well, congratulations. But if you bought at above 60, well, first off, I'm sorry. I hope that you're able to recover out of this one. Genuinely speaking, this is not fun and games when you're losing, at least, and money is real. I'm not here just to kind of laugh at people. We all make mistakes, and sometimes things don't work our way, even if we have everything in point. But where I expect this one going. Now, there's two things that might happen. It might just fade into ambiguity, kind of going on back where it came from in a sense, and dropping down to somewhere around $5 and accumulating maybe $6. Maybe it stays around $10 for a while until it gets either news, sales, and starts accumulating towards the fundamentals. Or it gets some crazy pump later on, let's say by the end of the week, is, hey guys, or by next week, someone comes in with Twitter, someone influential, hint hint, something, or well, not really, they're not going to say that, but in a sense, they can come in and say, hey, this was almost $80 last week, we can push it up to $40, and people just start buying, and the price point skyrockets. Apparently that's how the stock market now works. Financials and fundamentals don't really work as much, but that's what I think about the stock. What do you think about the ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I do recommend that you go ahead and join our Discord server. There's a lot of amazing folks in here. We do a lot of discussions here into the trading floor throughout the day. A lot of people are in there, and we do ask questions. You can ask me any question you would like on there. We do post research and DDs, and we hold weekly chat sessions. And we also do have a lounge in there. So make sure to actually join that and join the fun there. Have a wonderful day and a good one.